Written communication involves expressing yourself clearly, using language with precision, constructing a logical argument, note-taking, editing and summarising, and writing reports. There are three main elements to written communication: structure, the way the content is laid out; style, the way it's written; and content. Structure and layout are relatively easy to learn, but developing the skill to write good content can take a little longer. A good structure will help you to express yourself more clearly, whether in a report, an essay, a job application, or CV. And some tactics that may help to structure your writing is: be clear about your thoughts and the purpose of your communication before you start writing. In business communications, clarity is more important than style. Identify key themes, points, and facts. Decide on a logical order for what you have to say. Always write a good, strong introduction and finish with a good closing. An introduction makes an immediate and positive impression on the reader, and closing well will remain in the reader's mind after they have finished reading. Use short paragraphs and sentences. Don't ramble. Keep to one idea per paragraph and put your point on the first line, then add supporting information. Use headings, subheadings, and bullet points. This will allow the reader to scan the message quickly and help your points to stand out. Always write in a style that's appropriate to your audience. Think about the reader. How much information and detail will they need? Is it appropriate to use specialist terms, or should you translate these into normal general terminology? How formal or informal should your writing be? For example, a report in the Times would be written in a very different style from that covered by one of the tabloid newspapers. A solicitor giving advice to a client wouldn't go into the same amount of detail as she might when discussing legal arguments with a fellow solicitor. A useful way to check your competence in terms of writing skills might be to look at work you've already done and check it against best practice for structure and style. So for example, when you're looking at structure, which is the way the content is laid out, is the layout clear and easy to follow? Do the headings stand out? Are they in bold type, for example? Is the information arranged in a logical sequence with a beginning, middle, and an end? So an introduction, main body, and a conclusion. Does your introduction clearly state the subject and purpose of your communication? Does it briefly summarize the content? Then review your work for style, the way it's written. Does the piece look neat and elegant? Is it concise with an exact use of words and an economy of style? Like, if in doubt, cut it out. For example, instead of saying forward planning, just say planning. There's no such thing as forward planning. Words such as very, just, quite, perhaps, maybe, and really should all be removed. Is it simple, direct, and lucid? Are paragraphs too long? Paragraphs of less than 10 lines are easy to read. Is a blank line left between paragraphs to aid clarity? Are sentences too long? A sentence should contain just one idea. Sentences with more than 30 words should normally be split. Is the first sentence interesting? Does it draw the reader in? Have you avoided unnecessary jargon? Is the style suitable for the intended audience? For example, a technical report aimed at an audience of non-techies should be written in simple, jargon-free language. Are bulleted lists used where appropriate to aid the reader's eye and help them to follow your train of thought? Have you used short, concrete, familiar words rather than long, obscure, complex words? You'll recall from the discussion of developing a strong CV that it's a good idea to use active words where possible rather than the passive voice. So avoid writing sentences such as, "it is recommended." Use instead, "we recommend." It's simpler and more direct. Keep wordy phrases to a minimum and avoid repetition. Incidentally, in terms of the fonts, it's a good idea to use sans serif fonts such as Arial and Verdana are much easier and clearer to read than serif fonts like Times New Roman or Garamond, which can actually be quite hard on the eye. So having reviewed style and structure of your earlier written work, time now to review the content, so what you were writing about. So obviously, assuming the spelling and punctuation is correct. Consider, for instance, if you thought through in advance what you actually wanted to say. Is there a clear objective to your writing? Did you list the essential points you wished to make? And were these points clearly made? How well did you develop your argument? Is it developed in a logical way? Have you allowed detail to obscure the key issues? Is the content positive and constructive? How well have you shown an interest in the reader? Is it written with warmth and sensitivity? How many edits did you give the document? Did it receive several revisions? Would it be worth considering leaving important documents overnight and finish them when you're fresh in the morning? Developing a strong competence in written communication may seem like a dull thing to have to do, but it's a vital skill and it's especially important for career development. And it's worth remembering that while it might not be written in stone, once written work is published, there's no taking it back.